The jump quest featured in the Mechanical Hearts event is no joke, and will definitely test the most seasoned of players with their patience and skill. This video is a follow-up to my Mechanical Hearts event guide, and will be going over most of the things that you will need to know for the jump quest specifically, for the very basics to some tips and tricks. Couple of things I want to mention before we start the jump quest. When doing rescue mode or proceeding into the jump quest in Season 3, you're going to be doing most of the same thing. This jump quest has 4 to 5 different stages with barely any checkpoints in between. Don't rely on the checkpoints as much as you actually should, as the way that Nexon has coded this makes them kind of inconsistent. While we're going over checkpoints, I want to quickly mention an RNG mechanic that can happen. We're going to be referring to this RNG factor as getting clipboarded. This mechanic is basically saying that your Wondroid has malfunctioned and will be reverted back to the last checkpoint. Now this isn't 100% a bad thing, as when this does happen you can go talk to Spencer in the Season 1 or 2 map to claim some commemorative coins. There are 2 different variants when it comes to the jump quests themselves, an easy mode and a hard mode. For the storyline quest in Season 3 and for escorting Aster for the first time in Season 1, you will be doing easy mode. For this video, I will be going over hard mode, as there are a couple of differences between easy mode and hard mode that makes running in hard mode a little bit more tedious, but don't worry, because if you can do easy mode, odds are you can handle hard mode no problem. In the description of this video, there will also be a link to an unlisted video of me running through hard mode, and do remember that to clear the stage, you need to make it to the end of the stage with your character and with the Wondroid you're escorting. Now, due to abnormal coding, you can sometimes see these weird things that happen that shouldn't be happening. These include things like switches not being able to activate, not being able to revive yourself, or not being able to take hidden portals. If these do happen, you're unfortunately going to have to take the loss and relog. Now if you do hit one of the staircase checkpoints in between the jump stages, you'll revert to those, which isn't such a bad thing if you think about it. Lastly, when you're doing the storyline quest for Season 3 and you're heading into your first jump quest, you will be required to escort Laura from B1 to B4. This is actually the opposite of what you normally do. If you need help on a specific stage, I will be putting timestamps in the description as to where I talk about each stage. B4 is arguably the easiest stage out of the 5 different stages. There aren't really going to be that many obstacles that are standing in your way. Click on the button to enter the room. From here on, you're going to either want to throw your Wondroid up or teleport them past the hole. A little bit past this and you'll eventually come over to this contraption. Position your Wondroid at the start. Don't worry, they won't walk off unless you straight up tell them to jump off or you throw them off. Get yourself to the middle moving platform and teleport your Wondroid to the other side. After this, you can either order them to jump multiple times or grab them and throw them constantly. Teleporting is also an option if it's off cooldown. Your next obstacle will be the first of many conveyor belts in this run. In hard mode, there will be a hole right here. Try not to fall down it. You can still make your way back up to your Wondroid if you fall down. Remember that your Wondroid will not fall off of platforms unless you give them the order to. Wait for the lasers to turn off entirely, then go. When you get to the big ramp, do not full send it, as if you do, you'll be face checking a spike wall, instantly killing you. Instead, what you want to do is slow down or straight up let go of your arrow keys for a smooth landing. Once you get down there, immediately start breaking the air vent and go through the hidden portal. Once the spike wall passes, you can go back down and grab your Wondroid by either teleporting her back up or carrying her through the hidden portal. After this, it's a straight run to the finish line. B3 is going to be the second stage that you will be facing, but it's not really getting that hard yet. First, break the vent to hit the button up above, drop back down, and continue moving. There's a bit of room past this laser that's coming up. You can choose to hit the button right beside it on either side to slowly bring down the platform. Cue the elevator music. Now, moments later, you'll be encountering a couple of lasers coming from the ceiling. There's nothing really special about these, but try to deal with the mobs, as they will make every attempt to knock you around. As for the triple lasers that I believe are a hard mode exclusive, there are safe spots in between them. And do be careful about the spikes on the ground. They're not lethal, but they can and will make every attempt to knock you into the lasers if you're not careful. There's nothing really special to pay attention to in this room, and everything that you need to do is pretty self-explanatory. B2 is a slight jump in difficulty compared to B3 and B4, but it's still quite manageable even for inexperienced players. The first problem you'll be facing is the steam pumps coming from the ceiling. Wait for the smoke to dissipate and then pass by. But do be careful about the small lingering hitbox that they have. This can also be said about the lasers. Now, while you're in this room, you'll see this giant robot. I wouldn't recommend fighting him as he does quite a bit of damage. Remember to use your teleport to reposition your Wondroid whenever you want. Now for hard mode, this is going to be your first sight of moving lasers. These ones aren't that bad compared to the ones that we'll be seeing later on. Get both your android and yourself into the next room by jumping through the hole, and from here on, it's very straightforward. Believe it or not, this is the only thing that's hard about B2. Let's move on to B1. B1 is arguably the hardest part of this entire jump quest, and will be the main reason that a lot of you are struggling to complete this jump quest in the first place. The beginning part isn't that hard, just hit a couple of buttons here and there and wait for the platforms to come up, and proceed. Now in hard mode, you will either need to teleport your Wondroid or throw them to the other side to hit a ground switch to spawn a platform, but it's quite obvious. And now, coming up, we have one of the main reasons why people struggle, dubbed the conveyor belt. Step 1, throw your android onto the belt. We'll be seeing them on the other side. This allows us to give our character the full attention that it needs, which is important for this area specifically. The conveyor belt will be pulling you right, and the steam pumps will one-shot you if they hit you. Try to get used to controlling your character on this conveyor belt. Small maneuvers only. The steam pumps will usually stay on for 2 seconds and then turn off for 1 second, so be very careful. Once you see an opening past the steam, go for it. You won't actually need to use your right arrow key unless you're going for a personal best time. What's important for you in this part is to stay calm and stay in control of your character. Losing control of your character generally means that you're going to die. There are a bunch of safe spots in between the steam pumps, so use them wisely, and only pass by each steam pump if you know you can make it. Coming up, we will also see double pumps, one coming from the ceiling and one from the ground. Wait until both of them go off simultaneously or near the same time, and then pass by. Near the halfway mark, the conveyor belt will start to rev up in speed. You're going to need to start making a bit more movement in order to stay in control on the conveyor belt. Again, wait for the steam pumps to turn off and remember that they have a bit of a lingering hitbox. In hard mode, there are generally going to be a lot more pumps for you to worry about than in easy mode. In hard mode, there will be a triple pump at the end, but it's nothing special. Just like double pumps, wait for all 3 to go off simultaneously and then head on through. The rest of this shouldn't be that rough. You should be able to navigate on your own. Just be careful about the hole in hard mode. If either you or your Wondroid falls in, you'll be sent back to the last checkpoint. Now, getting to the right was the easier part, and for those of you who are doing the storyline quest, congratulations, you're done. But for those of you who are doing the Season 1 or 2 rescue mode, you are now at the hardest part of this jump quest. You need to make your way back to the left side. Now, you have 2 different routes that you can take for doing this. Both are hard for their own reasons. The first way is to go back through the conveyor belt head on, and the second way is to head through the ceiling into a vent that will give you a significantly easier time in the conveyor belt section. Both routes have their own difficulties and obstacles. If you do the conveyor belt route, you need to worry about the steam pumps and the conveyor belt that's constantly pulling you right. And if you do the ceiling route, you have to worry about moving lasers and tight jumps. Super tight jumps. I'll be showcasing both, starting with the ceiling route. Teleport your Wondroid into the ceiling and get yourself up there through the ladder. The first few lasers are stationary. You should be able to get past them no problem. The moving lasers, on the other hand, are a bit more problematic. Remember that the laser is approximately 1 second on and 1 second off. Try to run past the laser pointer when it's moving right and it turns off. You've done this before on a previous stage. There are a couple more of these coming up, so be ready. And if you see the double moving laser like in this clip, turn back and take the route under it. Coming up, you should be able to see that you need to do one tight jump and grab a rope. These tight jumps are actually closer than you think they are. Try to jump close to the edge of the platform. Your Wondroid can give you an idea of how close you are to the edge. Once you make it past the tight jump yourself, teleport your android to the other side. Keep going through the ceiling route until you see a vent. From there on, get to it. There should be one more tight jump that you need to make, and then you can hop down to it. Break it open and remember to carry your android with you with the S key. Once you get down here, you can teleport her just below the conveyor belt. As for you, you can get on the ladder to the right. Jump off the ladder so that you get to the platforms just below the conveyor belt as well. From here on, it's very simple. Wait for the steam pumps to turn off and walk on through. There are a couple of hidden spikes here and there, but for the most part, they shouldn't be giving you any trouble. Just remember to stay in control and do not panic. And remember that for double pumps, you need to wait until both pumps go off simultaneously before you can walk through. Now let's take a look at the conveyor belt route. This route is a bit more tricky due to the steam pumps and the conveyor belts not keeping you still. Since the conveyor belt is constantly dragging you right, it's too slow for us to walk past the steam pumps. So you're going to want to use your jump key in order to move faster. Use 2 jumps in order to get past things like double pumps and single pumps. This is going to be the most consistent way for you to get from one safe spot to the next. For double pump as well, you're going to want to wait until both pumps go off simultaneously. Remember to keep your character in control when you need to pause and wait for steam to dissipate. You should have plenty of time when it comes to this stage, so remember to stay calm throughout the entire process. If you lose control of your character or panic, you're most likely going to die. Halfway through the conveyor belt, your Wondroid should run into this hole. You're going to need to teleport them past it. Jumping over the hole is not an option, as this is not possible, because it will put them right onto the conveyor belt, making your life 2 times more painful. Once you make it past this, the rest of this jump quest shouldn't be any problem. Just pray you don't get clipboarded and have to go through that junk again. There really isn't anything special about 1F. Take out the first few guards and then afterwards start making a run for it. Once you exit the building, there will be 3 electric fences that you need to destroy. Time your key presses and press them at the right time. Remember to take your Wondroid with you, as you won't be able to clear without them. Now, if you're unlucky, you'll get this left-right prompt, which is actually pretty hard. But for those of you who are playing on a keyboard that have access to a numpad, you're in luck. If you didn't know, the arrow keys for your numpad on 8, 2, 4, and 6 on the right side of your keyboard can serve as another way to move your character. Just make sure to have numlock disabled. When you get this left-right prompt, you can use the left and right arrow key with your left hand and 4 and 6 keys with your right hand. Doing this will constantly give you a faster mashing speed, allowing you to break the fence a lot more quickly. Once you break the third fence, it's a victory sprint to the last portal. Once you hit the portal, you have cleared the jump quest. Congratulations.